President Muhammad Buhari, restating federal government's resolve to reopen grazing routes across Nigeria as the search for a solution for persistent farmer header crisis continues. Now, this has sparked of rounds of discussions and analysis with different perspectives. And now some lawyers are arguing that the move contravenes the Land Use Act, which gives states control of land. Others are of the opinion that it makes no economic sense, while another school of thought are skeptical about its attendant security challenges. Now, on the platform this morning, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM, we are looking at the viability of the proposal and the political implication given the governor's stand on open grazing. My panelists this morning on the platform include a senior lecturer with the Michael Okpara University of Agriculture, talking about Dr. Eugene Chokote, Department of Veterinary Medicine, College of Veterinary Medicine, Michael Okpara University of Agriculture, to look at the economy of ranching and how cattle rearing is done in other climes. And on the flip side, we will also be having two senior lawyers to weigh in on this matter. I will be joined virtually by Barrister Amanda Ubani, former Vice President of the Nigerian Bar Association, and also live in the studio, Barrister Mike Undu will be joining me, Umahia-based legal practitioner and a socio-political analyst in the studio. I think we should begin the conversation already. I have a senior lecturer joining me this morning, Dr. Mrs. Eugene. Good morning to you, Doctor. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM. All's good. What's going on with the connection? Doctor, if you can hear me, good morning to you. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM.
Good morning.
Okay, great.
Good morning.
You're welcome. I can hear you now, loud and clear.
Okay.
Welcome. From the academic point of view, how viable is open grazing in modern times?
Well, when we talk about modern time, we have to consider the African setup. There's the African, the modern time, and as understood by the African setup. So we encourage ranching, grazing, but the practicality of it is the problem we are facing right now.
Interesting. So it seems something is missing in cattle rearing in Nigeria. What is that thing missing?
Well, we are over the years operating the system of pastoralism, which is open grazing using natural resources and generally uncontrolled pasture from different areas. The problem we have is mainly that we address the discourse with the people, with the employees of those animals. The real owners are to be called into the discussion and make input on the rearing management, which is the best. Which best is the ranching.
Okay.
As we have, we should advocate for the modern time.
Okay, let's look at cattle rearing once again in Nigeria. You mentioned pastoralism. You explained that, and you spoke about ranching. I would like you to help us find meanings to some of these terms in agric, ranching and other forms of grazing.
Ranching means confining the animals and giving them the food and care they need. So most often the employees, the Fulani that go about with the cattle are not the owners.
Okay.
So they are giving the animals, and most often they could be giving the animals with minimum facilities they are supposed to use in caring for those animals.
In a confined area, like you said. Is that right?
In the system of confinement, that is the ranching.
Okay.
So there should be an area where the animals are housed and fed without trespassing into other people's properties. So the owners should have an environment where its animals are kept and cared for. That is the ranch. So as a business, it is kept in a housing, it is kept in an environment owned by the business person who is the cattle owner.
Interesting.
In this case.
So help us with open grazing now, and help us with the difference between open grazing and the ranching.
Open grazing is trying to pick up the chain, the feed from anywhere, from any available place that you can have feed for the animals, feed and pasture. So that's the open grazing. Compared to ranching, where there is a provision for the feeding of the animals. So in open grazing system, there is no strict provision. There is no known provision for the animals that are in possession. And it causes a problem because those that take care of them have to roam around to get feeding for those animals.
That leads me to the next question, Doctor, this morning. Open grazing and cattle rearing routes, now the grazing routes, are there relationship between these two terms?
Definitely yes, because most of the cattle you see around here are coming from different parts of Africa. They can be coming from as far as Sudan. Okay, they are actually for market, for trade. So they follow a route. And in between, there are places of production and the market where they are sold. Okay. They have to be fed and they have to be cared for. So they follow routes, and on those routes, they have to stop and graze. The animals have to be stopped and be grazed if they are not transported in vehicles. So the cattle routes are those routes they follow to go to places for market. They go to different countries and areas for market.
All right. I would like you to help us highlight the problem just before we let you go. And of course, we look at the political implication with other analysts this morning on the program. Back in the day, 1960 down to 70s, 80s, there were grazing routes, and we never had these problems of clashes between farmers and the herders, and the farmers and herders, they lived peacefully. But it is not the case today. Clashes between communities and herders, clashes between farmers and herders. What do you think is the problem that we have?
Well, the problem, the increased urbanization, and then the problem has ever existed. It is not new. There are conflicts in communities, decades-known conflicts that are rooted to farmers and herders. So it is not a new problem. It has been in existence for several decades. The problem now is, I think, is the understanding, and then the also lack of solution provision to reduce, to minimize such differences, like creating other businesses to produce cattle feed and pasture.
Okay.
I think
we're getting you. Interesting. So you're talking about encroachment, urbanization, people building along these cattle routes. But are these cattle routes, are they, maybe from the academic point of view, are they recognized by the law?
Legislation has, over the years, this cattle route has been identified but I don't know the legal view of it, how it has been defined and it should be. But these are places, these are routes that have been known and have been identified. And most legislature has to manage. It should be there to manage these facilities and these practices.
All right. Doctor, I want to really appreciate you. Thank you very much for helping us find meanings to some of those terms that, of course, are very difficult for us in the course of this conversation today on Flow FM. Thank you very much. Do appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right. That's Dr. Eugenia Chokote. I hope I didn't murder her name. Department of Veterinary Medicine, Michael Okpara, University of Agriculture, Umudike, College of Veterinary Medicine. Of course, let's move on now. Let's look at the legal perspective. I will be joined by Barrister Amanda Ubani, but let me begin with Barrister Mike Undu. He's a legal practitioner and a socio-political analyst. What do you make of the president's statement first, saying that, well, we're going to gazette those routes, and of course, there are cattle routes and grazing areas. Where they were moving up country from north to south, from east to west, and they have to go through there. So if you allow your cattle to stray into a farmer's farm, you are arrested. So the president is saying we're going to resuscitate these cattle routes and grazing areas and make them accountable. What do you make of the president's statement?
Well, my understanding of the president's statement is that he's trying to find a way to ensure that cattle rearers will have their way down to any part of the country just as they wish. I think also that he has to look at it again, because if you look at it objectively, you will understand that Mr. President was talking about what was operational in the 1960s. You understand? 1960s. And then he also did not take cognizance of the fact that our laws have developed. For instance, we now have in place what we refer to as a Land Use Act, which incidentally has also been made part of our constitution, wherein all the lands in a particular state, particularly those lands located in urban areas, are vested in a governor, and those ones in the rural areas vested in the local government chairman. But that is also in principle. For instance, in as much as these lands are vested in the governor or the local government chairman, some persons, some indigenous people are still in possession, are still making use of this land. So it was just for the purposes of giving the governor at least the privilege of acquiring this land anytime it is needed for maybe for development. That was why that law was made. Okay. So as we speak today, people are occupying this land, people are in possession. Now, if you want to resuscitate the use of these grazing routes, like Mr. President said, you still have to resort to the states. You still have to defer to the state and find out from the state how these spaces can be acquired from the aborigines, those who own this land.
Just a moment. Let me take Barrister Amanda Ubani. I'm going to return to you, Barrister Mike Undu. Barrister Amanda, good morning to you. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM. We're looking at this open grazing route, and what I'm sure you're aware of the president's statement just before the Democracy Day, the interview he granted in national television, where he spoke about resuscitating the cattle grazing routes. What do you make of that? Because right now, Ondo, Delta, Cross River, Enugu, Benue, Akwa Ibom State, and the recent Bayelsa State saying, well, we're not ready to mark out grazing routes for cattle across the country. So it's more like a face-off between the federal government and these states' governments.
I don't think the president is very, very realistic about this. Ask the president, he is into cow. I'm sure he's also breeding cows. And I don't think I've ever seen him arrange herdsmen to be taking his cows all over the country. I have seen him and ranching. He's doing ranching cow business in Katsina State. So if the president engages in ranching and is now advising open grazing that the herdsmen should be working all over the country, creating crises all over the country, it is clearly unfortunate for the president of the country that should do everything within his power to douse tension, to be exacerbating it by the kind of recommendation he was making for the Attorney General to recover all those existing routes, according to him, that were there in the 60s. But under the 1999 Constitution, all the land in the states are vested upon the governors. So the governors have a right to determine what use the lands that are clearly under their control should be used for. So the president is clearly out of time. He is not living within the time. And if we may advise him, the proper thing now in terms of raising cows and breeding cows is ranching, and no longer this outdated mode of going from one place to another, taking people's land by force, and then creating crises here and there.
Okay,
that should be the proper thing to do.
Barrister Monday, back in the day, I'm glad you mentioned in the 60s and the 70s, we had these cattle grazing routes, and there were no problems. Urbanization came in, and encroachment set in, and we started having issues of farmers clashing with herders, and of course clashing with communities. Don't you think returning to these routes will help douse this tension and help us live peacefully?
No tension with the douse. As long as you're having killer herdsmen crawling around, we don't have the original herdsmen we all know that used to go with sticks, and their cows, and they are not taking people's land by force or killing anyone or engaging in any manner of killings, that we experience today. I think that we have invaders. There are other foreigners now that are coming to the country trying to create crisis in this country under the guise that they are herdsmen, whereas they are now herdsmen. Herdsmen don't carry AK-47. They don't need to. So what we are seeing today is not really herdsmen. We are having army of invasion, people who have other more dangerous, sinister motives other than rearing cows. And that's why we should be careful about talking about old grazing routes, because these guys are not coming to actually graze with their cows. They are coming to create crises. They are coming to take land. They are coming to kill. They are coming to men. And we cannot, as I said earlier, go back to that old grazing route. More so when the modern method of rearing cows today, as I speak to you, is by way of ranching. The president that is talking about open grazing, does he engage in it? He is into cow business. Does he engage in going from one place to another? Trying to rear his cows. He has a ranch.
Just a moment.
Why can't we go back to
the federal government came up with solutions like Ruga, solutions like National Livestock Transformation Plan, which was kicked against by these same governors that are in charge of the lands in their domains. And what do you make of that?
Okay, any state that wants Ruga in their state should go ahead and probably do their Ruga. Any state that wants it, it's not by compulsion. There are enough land in the northern region. So any state that says, okay, we want Ruga in our state, go ahead. But if any state says, I don't want any Ruga, what I want is ranching. If anyone wants to raise any cow in this, let them go ahead also and implement it. So my issue is that we're operating a federal system of government. You don't stay at Abuja and begin to now say all the states must accommodate certain farmers, because we have all manner of farmers all over the country and all that. So why this special attention being paid to only this? Cows is not the only thing we eat as farmers. I mean, as Nigerians, there are other things we eat. Why must you destroy all the other crops all because of the fact that you want to rear cows? As if cow is the only thing we eat in Nigeria and all that. So my take is that if any state wants Ruga business, they should go ahead and do it. But if any state says, please, I don't want Ruga, and this is what I want, I think that particular state should be respected. That's what I think that can create less crisis in the country. We don't want a situation where somebody sits down and begin to yes.
That brings to question the freedom of movement, infringing on the freedom of movement of these cattle rearers as enshrined in the Constitution. Yes. That has been also talked about by the Chief Legal Officer of
freedom of movement of human beings and not of cows. What the Constitution guarantees is freedom of movement of citizens to move, but no, I don't see any freedom of movement that is guaranteed to cows under our Constitution. I'm yet to see that one. But freedom of movement for citizens, you have the right to, there are many northerners in Eastern region, and they are living freely and all that. But when this issue of herdsmen that carry AK-47 take over people's land, invade and destroy crops, and in the process also kill people now said, no, we have to find a solution. And that's why the southern governors came up with the situation of banning open grazing. They're not against people rearing their cows, by way of ranching. But open grazing that has caused crisis is what they have stopped. Because they don't want crisis in their district. And the law says they are the chief security officers of their various states. They have a right to say, this is what I want to protect lives and property within my domain. The Constitution allows, even the president himself said that the governor should find solution to the spate of insecurity in their various jurisdictions. So I think that what they have done is something that within the law contemplates it, that they have to secure lives and property within their domain. So I think that the president should respect that.
All right. Barrister Amanda Ubani, former vice president of the Nigerian Bar Association, thank you very much for your analysis this morning on the platform on Flow FM. We do appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Well, Barrister Mike Undu is still very much in the studio. We're going to take a break now. When we return, I'm going to take Barrister Mike Undu on the political implication of banning open grazing, especially in the southern part of the country, and also what Mr. President said about resuscitating cattle routes in the country. It is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, and my name is Michael Oni.
At Flow 94.9 FM, we've got conducive and well-secured environment for business. High-tech video studio, a state-of-the-art production studio. You can also listen live on www.flow949fm.com and watch our videos on YouTube at Flow FM TV. Flow 94.9 FM, not just radio, but a complete broadcasting house.
Thank you very much for staying tuned. It is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, right here on Flow 94.9 FM Monday edition. It should have been the first official work day of the week, but I understand it's a public holiday and you're at home. Definitely enjoy your holiday. But we're still talking about the open grazing in Nigeria, what the president said concerning about bringing back those grazing routes. And of course, the governors are kicking against it. Some governors, rather, are kicking against it. Well, I do have Barrister Mike Undu. He's a regular on Flow 94.9 FM, especially during the morning hours with Omoti and Govinci on the newspaper reviews segment of the Morning Spice. And of course, let's look at this squarely. Political implication. It looks like a lot of APC governors are also in support of banning open grazing in their states, more like kicking against the policy of your party at the center. Don't you think this will have a very huge crack in the APC fold?
Well, I don't think so. Actually, I don't even want to believe that
you're meant to support your party in whatever your party presents.
It depends on whether what a kind of
politics we play in Nigeria.
No, it is not all the time. Remember that before a particular policy is to be churned out by a political party in power, that policy should be also examined by the members of the party. You see, governors are actually leaders in their own rights in their various states, and they are also members of a particular political party. It does not mean that when that party churns out a policy that is going to cause problems in their state, that they will accept it, line, hook, and sinker. So I believe that if Mr. President wants the governors to work with him, he should first of all meet with them, and then they will review whatever policy he wants to perhaps implement. And then if there are some rough edges, they will be smoothened before they will be implemented. You cannot just make a pronouncement and you expect the governors. We are saying that there is so much tension, all right, in the land because of farmers, herders, clashes, and all that. So much insecurity, and so many people are pointing accusing fingers on herdsmen. We are saying that some of them are carrying AK-47, and we are saying, okay, the best way to control the movement of these people, and then let us know, because I know there are still some good ones amongst them. Now, for us to ensure that these people no longer terrorize the farmers or destroy their crops and all that, or kill people, let us stop open grazing. Now, when you stop open grazing, these people who used to carry AK-47 will no longer have access to the farmers' farms or the farmers.
When you say let us stop open grazing, this has been presented by the federal government through, just like I asked Barrister Monday Ubani, through the National Livestock Transformation Plan, which was kicked against by many Nigerians, especially from the southern part of the country, saying it's a private business.
Of course.
And you cannot tell the states. But if the state should provide a land for the cattle to stay, a confined area, don't you think this will limit these clashes between the farmers and the herders?
But the issue is that why are we giving special attention to the cattle rearers? Why? You have not given other farmers such attention. These are private businesses. So why not those who own the businesses acquire land, build ranch for themselves? Why would you ask the state to donate land? And again, not just donating land, they want the place to be made comfortable for the herders so that they can live there, and that place might in future become theirs. The people are scared that it could also lead to Islamization of those areas, because when you allow them stay there, at a point they will start feeling that this is our home, and they could even outnumber the owners of the land, and before you know it, it could cause another problem. What we are saying is that let the owners of this business or businesses acquire lands on their own, build their ranch, do your business, and sell to us. If you do not have any area in the south, do it in the north, and then see transport.
With the way it is now, do you think that is possible? For example, I'm going to be very factual here. We have some persons, even from the southern part of the country, even right here in Abia State, that
own cows now. Yes, we know.
They own cows in their numbers, and they get some of these people to help them rear them. Yeah. Do you think it is possible when, for example, I own some heads of cows, and I'm going to my community to say, community, please, I want to buy a land and put my cows there. Do you think the community will be ready to release their land?
You don't even need to tell them what you want to use the land for. It's their personal business. You just go meet those who have land to sell. It could be in the middle of a thick, maybe forest. You just acquire it and then build your ranch and allow these herders to live there with the cows and start taking care of them for you. Whatever you want to sell, they can bring them out and sell. That is what we are saying. But I know that it's cost effective, because to acquire land and start feeding these cows, by ranching them, it will cost you more. What they are doing now is they just go open grazing, which is free feeding, even destroying some other people's crops, to their own advantage. That is not good. What we are saying, come out if it is your business, acquire land, build ranch, and then do your business. It's a private business. Why do you want to impose it on the states?
Let's look at the economic implication just before I throw the lines open, and we have a complete conversation this morning with those listening at home. Let's look at the economic implication. Banning open grazing, is it to the merit or the merit of Nigerians? And of course, ranching now, saying we should adopt ranching. Do you think it has more demerits or more merits?
In as much as security is concerned, I would want to say that banning open grazing has merits more than using it, because if we do not have security, you can't even talk about economic growth. That will affect our economy severely. So we are trying to ensure that the farmers who have crops have at least secured environment to do their business, while the cow owners also do their business also in a serene and safe environment as well, so that both sides will be impacting the economy positively. Now, trying to resuscitate the grazing routes and then grazing areas simply means that they want to still go back to open grazing. That is just the simple implication, but they are giving it a different name. So that's why we are kicking against it.
So if you want to join the conversation this morning, you can call the studio phone lines 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. You can also drop messages on 0906 510 8289. It is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, the first edition for a new week right here on the flow of Garden State. Good morning to you. Welcome. All right, let's move on. Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah. Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome, Radio Senator.
Yeah, and good morning, our guest.
Good morning.
Barrister. This is Radio Senator calling from Government College, Umuahia.
All right.
I heard from Mr. Obama who talked about the constitution that says that nobody should discriminate anybody living or free to leave any part of the country. But I want to tell Mr. Obama, let's not be sincere and forget about ethnic and sentimental differences. When an individual is moving from one, if I'm moving here from here, Umuahia, to Gombe State, then I will leave my property or leave my coat. That is exactly what Oban is saying. It's not true. Everybody is moving together with his property, whether goat or cattle, whatever thing. So both of them are the same. Let it be sound clear to him.
No, he said, just a moment, he said that the law is for human beings and not for cattle. That was exactly what he said.
That is exactly what I'm saying. When they said the movement of person, not only that person, because you cannot leave your property alone. It's the wrong interpretation. I think he's not a judge. He's just a mere lawyer. So
No. I'm not going to allow you attack any of my guests on the program. You can also, you can as well drop your opinion without attacking my guest on the program. Let's be very civil. Thank you very much. Good morning to you. Welcome to the program, the platform on Flow FM. Okay, they lost that. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to the program, the platform on Flow FM.
Okay, good morning.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Barrister.
Good morning.
I just want to say this morning that let me permit me to use Igbo adage. So, as much as you rear cattle, you don't allow your cattle to eat up crops planted. That is the problem in this nation. So we use they will allow their cattle or their cows to feed on the planted crops in the farm. That is a problem. So it has more advantage to open grazing. Whether it is to recover land or anywhere, anybody who owns that cattle or the cow should go and buy land. He should buy business. Take care of the cow. Just like somebody attempts to open a poultry farm in another person's land. You make sure that you don't inconvenience other neighborhood. You do it within your vicinity. That is what we are canvassing for. Just buy land, build a ranch, take care of your cattle there, then sell it any amount you want to sell. Anybody who is available or who have money to buy, let the person buy. People who don't have the money to buy, let them find alternatives.
All right.
So we need to end the security of any kind between the herders and the farmers. So let open grazing be banned and condemned entirely. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Good morning to you. Welcome to the platform.
Good morning, Mike.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
This issue of cattle rearing affecting open grazing, I don't think the government have the heart of the indigenous.
Which of the governments now? The state or the federal?
Federal government.
Okay.
The federal government. For imposing on this open grazing. Even in the village here, it's an abomination for one to live in his goat or his sheep to go into another person's farm. Which we know about it. Anybody that is doing such thing don't have the people that is ruling in mind. I don't support it. I mean, we should call it, we should find a way to stop this open grazing affecting.
All right. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to the platform.
Hello, good morning, Mr.
Yes, you're welcome.
My name is India.
You're welcome.
Okay. Our problem is, Mr. President, don't want to believe the fact that we are in modern world. I don't see the reason why all Islam is all about the ideology of Islam and Phobia. Open grazing is something that has been condemned, even worldwide. We don't seem to do the best. I don't know why we find it very difficult. Because
Because if you follow right from 1983, this is the reason why the government was portrayed by IBD. The first is between insects. This actually does no problem. There is no problem. And the earlier we accept that, the better for all of us, because one day, honestly, things might happen in Nigeria. That is fun. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Honorable Barrister. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you so much. I remember Mr. Prince Willis from Monaco.
All right.
Happy holiday for us.
Oh, thank you very
So the
much.
same.
My brother, if our president insists on open grazing as well as re-rating or reintroducing this, my
Resuscitate.
brother, our president has a foundation act against the Nigerians. The constitution is a grand I'm talking this because some of us are fucking lawyers. The lawyer there, the two lawyers have told us the constitution, the 1999 constitution has made it open that the state controls the land under the governors. The governors control the state given to them. There's if our president is talking about open grazing as well as we want and begging him, president, if you can control the road from Kano State to Nigeria, why won't you control the road from where these different of cows are being transported to where they are being sold? Please, in economy, that's what you say, the seller is a change and the buyer is a change. Whether you use their cow to destroy other people's land, these are my statement. God bless you.
All right, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Good morning to you. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM. Good morning. Can you change your location so that we can have a better reception here?
Yeah, I think it's better
Okay,
now.
great. It's better.
Yeah, my name is Mr. Omar.
You're welcome, Mr. Amifula.
You see, when you talk about all this open grazing and whatever it is, I think there is a hidden agenda. Because if not, I don't know why someone will want to use his own personal and private business to destroy another person's own. It's uncalled for. You have a car, you're into car business. Buy a piece of land, secure it, put your cows there, send someone out, get the grasses, get to the cow. They are safe. They are comfortable there. Why taking it into another person's farm? A farmer who, out of his farm, is feeding his own family and taking care of other things, wants to destroy his farm. I don't know. Mr. President, who wants to do this? He has his own cow. Why not allow his own cow to go into his other part of the farm where he plants crops to destroy them? Why is he keeping them in a safe place? I think we've overflocked this. You cannot force somebody to sell a land to you, and you cannot force somebody's land of the person.
All right.
Because they want to, feed your cows. It's uncalled for.
All right, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. On the SMS line, Chioma from Umasha says, why giving these people special attention for crying out loud? Buhari has not told us what his intentions are. I hope the eastern and the southern governors will not make the greatest mistake of agreeing with the president. If not, that would be the beginning of us losing our lands. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. Thank you. That's coming from Chioma. And on our Facebook page, we've got a lot of messages there. Good morning, Flow FM. I love this program. That's coming from Bella Mike. Wisdom Albert says, happy Monica. I think at this. Capondon Murphy says, Beatrice. Vivian says, good morning. Capondon says, Flow FM member. I hope you're seeing what they are doing to me. No handwork, no certificate. As Lars Zaxon says, I love this program. All right. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us on Facebook page, where the visual version of this program is being relayed. Many thanks to you, Barrister Mike Undu, for joining me this morning. You're saying that the governors are not breaching any part of the Constitution if they insist that there are no grazing routes.
Not at all. Not at all. They are not.
In their states.
No.
All right.
No,
Thank you very much.
It's a prerogative to, if they want to donate land to the federal government to do any project, they can do that.
All right.
But nobody can impose that on them. It's my pleasure being here as well.
Thank you very much. Good to have you. And also many thanks to my guest, Barrister Mondo Ubani, who joined all the way from Lagos, virtually, former Vice President of the Nigerian Bar Association, and Dr. Eugenia Chokote of the Department of Veterinary Medicine, College of Veterinary Medicine, Muayu in Umuahia. Thank you very much. The program returns on Wednesday. Of course, we're going to bring up another topical issue for robust analysis right here on the Flow of Garden State. My name is Michael Oni. Many thanks to my producer, Samson Eze and Uyaya Basi Jimmy, and the guys behind the visuals on our Facebook page, Solomon and Stanley. Do enjoy the rest of your holiday.